changes your desire to be present, on video or asking a question and whatnot, then just so you are aware, it is officially gone live. Exciting. Good work, team. Coach Lanny, great to see you. And the little one, Dan, great to see you. Carlene, Kimmy, always great to see you. I got to start rocking my black t-shirt. I was thinking about it and you as I imagined you in my mind. Great to see you, Angelina. Alex, 84. The hero is advancing to 101. Nice work. Heidi, always great to see you. Ryan, John, Georgia, Timmy, B, Scott, Roger, nice to see you. I owe you a text. Yesterday just evaporated in a blur of awesome. Lydia, great to see you. Kelly, Tony, Sarah, Sheila. Tim, sorry about calling you Ted. I knew that you're I got the Tim and the D kind of conflated there, but great to see you. Excited about your work. Ruben, great to see you. And Coach Rick on screen one. Good to see you all as I leaf through. How great was Lisa yesterday? If you were part of that conversation, got some great feedback. What a beautiful human being. I sent her a note afterwards saying, you are just such a wonderful, radiant embodiment of your philosophy. Big heart, big mind. For her to be able to go from the spiritual to the analytical, scientific, I found to be really inspiring and excited about all that. If you haven't watched that recording yet, check it out. Not a lot to report, although I did test eating something that I wasn't sure if it was going to work for me quite as well as I'd like, but I did it 4 hours before I went to bed. Frankly, I kind of woke up feeling like I got away with it a bit, but feeling good. I did sleep like a bear. That is a very good night of sleep, feeling zesty, feeling energized, working the protocol. Day one. We're also launching the Heroic Ambassador Program today. That was my win this morning, really stepping back and crafting why. So Michael wrote, some great stuff on the mechanics and how everything's going to work and the details and stuff that we're going to follow up on. But this morning, and I've been thinking about this obviously for a long time, but I stepped back and really wanted to start with why and crafted, just kind of a narrative around this guy. Every single morning I'm looking down before I start my meditation and saying, hero, I see a world in which 51% of humanity is flourishing by 2051. And this is how. 101 soul force activated with 1 million heroes out there doing their best. And then I talk about the fact that I get a slight or not so slight vomit emoji every time I imagine spending another dollar on Meta. I'm like, really? Really? We're feeding the beast? How do we create an economic engine that helps power the growth of our business with our community and figuring out a way to, in a really creative, heroic way, circulate that abundance within our community of ambassadors and coaches. And so we're really excited to launch that. We've got a ton of ideas, goosebumps as I say that, that we'll be sharing more on that soon. But Nat, if you can share that kind of link in the chat, that'd be great. Look out for the email coming soon. I know we have a couple of RSVPs. If you would like to connect with us today, please raise your hand. And please, good to see you, Ariana. I love that. That was a quick draw. Fantastic. Let's flip the switch and invite the best, most heroic version of ourselves to join us. And you can imagine that switch literally being ready at hand. Within your mind, you can, in a moment, connect to the best, most heroic version of yourself. As you slow down, make the formal invitation, chest up, chin down, or however you sit or stand with more dignity, with more poise, with more calm, confidence, energized tranquility. Bringing a smile to your face with deep, calm, rhythmic breathing. In through your nose, down into your belly, back out through the nose. Exhale slightly longer than the inhale. Bring it on. Let's go. We've got this. Whatever your little mantra is to yourself in any given moment. We are activating our soul force in service to something bigger than ourselves. by living with wisdom, self-mastery, love, courage, gratitude, hope, curiosity, and zest, not someday, but today, as we move from theory to practice to mastery together. Day one, let's go. All right, we're going to start with some new faces, Ariana and Lori. I don't know if we've connected yet. Ariana, if you are ready to go. Oh, I am ready to go. How are you?
I am great.
Well, perfect. You're also on mute. Let's get you back off of mute. You came on for a moment there.
Are we there?
There we go. I got you.
Okay. I didn't expect you to call me so quick. I'm on my paddleboard. 2 seconds. Give me 2 seconds.
That is so fantastic. Ariana,
okay,
we're going to give you more than 2 seconds. We'll come back. No, you do your thing. We'll come back.
No. I honestly, because that way I'm going to be somewhere else on the boat here. Well, okay, let's just sit in the river together. I'm actually in the harbor. So yes. Hi. How are you, sister? Can you see?
I'm doing great, but apparently not as great as you are out on the paddleboard. Let's go.
So fun. I listen to you all the time. I paddle around the harbor. I did yoga this morning, and now I'm doing my little paddle, my little stacking of stuff. So I love you. You're so awesome. I appreciate you so much. I just want you to know that. I echo everything that everyone has ever said about you. And what I wanted to yesterday, I wanted to talk about Anthony DeMello, and what came up yesterday when we were talking. And what I wanted to say, and what do I want to say right now? Okay, let me just start off with just sort of kind of get an understanding of the type of person I am. So it really comes down to that.
Let's make sure, Ariana, we frame it up too. So I want to be respectful of everybody's time. I also want to obviously get to the practical question here. So frame it up as tightly as you can, and let's get to work.
For sure. So I just give you kind of an idea of or a sort of a glimpse of my personality. So if you think of the blind men with the parable of the 5 blind men with the elephant, how they each touch a part of the elephant, and that's their view of the elephant. So I'm definitely the person that's seeking to see the entire elephant. I want to see the entire elephant so I can explain to the blind man that's touching the ear how, no, it's all the same thing. It's just the same thing, but this guy over here is touching the tail. And so that's very much my personality. So just sort of that in a nutshell. So with the talk yesterday, the spiritual, it was all about spiritual, and it was really cool. And my husband is he's very science-backed mind, and he's also his relation to time is very much in the forward, in the future. So he's never really present because he's kind of always rushing to something in the future. And I realized that in order to be in a flow state, in order to be spiritual, it's really important to be in the present moment. And so his way of spirituality or being in the flow is to be like with music. And so music is one of those things that really brings him into that present moment. And also surfing. He loves surfing. And he's a physician, and so he's very science.
So I'm gonna gently nudge you. I'm gonna gently nudge you.
I know. And here's the edges of time. The edge of times are coming. So I'm trying to like stay within my little flow thing, and the edge of time coming at me. So when I was talking yesterday, I had created a metaphor for him. So he understands internal family systems. And that metaphor was for him to understand in his language, which is music. And so I came up with this conductor. And how we have this orchestra of parts. Sorry, I'm going to hit something here. We have this orchestra of parts that we conduct as the parts within us, as our internal family system. And so I did that for him, and it was interesting. I was on a hike, and I kind of created this whole metaphor for him, for he to understand it. He totally understood it. He totally got it. And I was on a hike with my dog. This is a couple years ago, and I was in an area where the reception wasn't that great. And Anthony DeMello came on, and he was talking about very similar thing. And it was like, it freaked me out. Like, it was one of those things where it was like the chills throughout your body. And it scared me because it was so similar to what I had created And I even made a visual of this. I actually have an art piece that I created of this whole, like, you're the conductor and you have those parts, and how, you know, the flow of life is so much like music, and, you know, you grab onto a note, and, you know, sometimes, like, even when a record is playing, like, sometimes if it's skipping, it's sort of like that, a metaphor of, like, we keep telling ourselves the same story over and over again, and it's like a record skipping. The music's not allowed to flow. So anyway, it scared me. It totally scared me, because I'm like, this is too similar. Like, this is too close. Like this, and it was, I sort of freaked out over it. And I think it was one of those spiritual things. I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't know what that was all about. And I sort of, like, was afraid to even mention the metaphor anymore, because it was weird to me. It just freaked me out, the whole situation with the Anthony DeMello having such a similar thing. And it was interesting. And recently I've
Ariana, I love you.
Okay,
I
my
appreciate
question to you, my question to you is, have you had an experience like that where you read so much and you have so much knowledge and all of that's in your sort of database that you have? Have you experienced something that you felt like it was true to you, and then you read about it that somebody else had put in a book or a poem?
Yeah. Okay, cool. That's easy. Thank you. I appreciate you. And again, I it's always a challenge for me to that dance of, like, I just want to hang out and talk and let's go, and I want to learn more, and then the constraints that we have here. So thank you for helping us graciously get there. I do, and I don't freak out. I just celebrate. I mean, that's, to me, what we're doing, and I think why we all have so much resonance together. Even if we come from different, faith traditions or different perspectives in life, it's your elephant metaphor to go there. We're each approaching it from different angles, but it's the same discussion. And so I think it's inevitable that the more we immerse ourselves in these ideas, and the more we deliberately and consciously and relentlessly approach it, the more likely it is, and the more often we will find others who have discovered the same truth and expressed it not only in their own unique way, but in a way that we felt was unique to us and perhaps divinely inspired. And then I smile at that. And Ralph Waldo Emerson talks about this as well, that you'll find your own thoughts reflected in other people's thoughts, but the despair will come in when we aren't acting on it, when we aren't living in integrity with it, when we aren't sharing it authentically. So for me, it's just it's a constant for me, with all the books that I've read and continue to read. And again, this is my job. My job is to say, this isn't me or you or that person or that person. These are often, not always, but often universal truths just expressed in different ways. So take it up with Rumi, or take it up with Joseph Campbell or Anthony DeMello, or pick your favorite, guide and heroic teacher. Argue with them, not me. That's kind of my approach, and that's how I help navigate the elephant and the different components. And then, playfully, when I heard you talking about your husband and this and that, I think of another Anthony DeMello line, which is, anytime we find ourselves pointing a finger at somebody else, it's like we're writing a prescription for them, when what we need to do is look at ourselves. So even that being present, being here right now, like, well, how are you that, kind of getting out of that and finding that opportunity in each of the moments in which we want to go fix someone else, as a reminder that we've got all the work we ever need, just taking care of ourselves, not someday, but today. But great to see you. Appreciate you. And great to join you on the paddle board out there. That is fantastic. Bless you. And see you soon. Let us go to, we've got Leo, who's RSVP'd. Leo, let's connect. And then Lori, let's connect. And I think we had Juan as well. Juan, if you are here, please join us, and we will make sure we have an opportunity to connect as well. Leo, how are you? Good to see you.
I'm great. Good to see you. Good to see you too. And first, I want to thank you for challenging me back last time. I challenged you to be a hero, sleep iconoclast, and you challenged me back to look at my schedule to get some more time to sleep, and I'm doing that. I'm around 8 hours in bed, trying to push for a little bit more time. So it was great to have been challenged by you. Thank you. And today, I want to describe a little bit what happened to me in the past, in the last 3 weeks. And I have a question in the end. It's very framed, so it's really quick. It seems that my soul leaves my body for around 2 weeks from time to time. And this time was very clear that it started despite of the fact that I've been following my protocols. I was in flow and I crashed. Got out of my protocols for 10 days. I felt a mix of depression and anxiety, coupled with overwhelm just to think of hitting 101 targets. So I didn't hit my big top three for 10 days. And what's interesting is that I got back up before going back to my protocol. It was like my soul came back, despite not honoring the fundies. And my inner daimon told me to write myself a soulless algo. It goes like something like this, really summarized. If my soul leaves my body, I turn on soulless protocol, Zen approach on big three targets, one virtual only, 3 targets for each. Savor deep love with my family, connect to nature, reduce inputs, short version of more than hero affirmations, especially Om's, Bring It On, and the Fragile, and stay in the question during my meditation. What do I need to learn from this breakdown that will lead me to my next breakthrough? What's important now? Double down my nutrition protocol and quadruple down on my sleep protocol. And that's my question. Now it's my question. Aren't these moments opportunities for slowing down and connecting more intensely to my inner self to get some rest and to come back stronger? And these moments a call to oscillate, to be totally off, like the rhythms of nature, day and night, winter, spring, summer, etc. Like,
dude, that's great. Yeah, I think that you're awesome. A, B, appreciate you and how you framed it, and amen. That's exactly how I would encourage you to approach it. And again, 101 targets, like that's crazy, and that's not necessary. What you described, and again, run there if you want to go there. I like it. And again, it's easy for me now to hit, even if I don't hit all my targets, which I frankly often don't, right? I'm uncommitting. Perfect. I'm learning a little bit, or just it wasn't a priority. But again, the thing that's most important is, what are the basic core things you do when you're on? And you articulated yours perfectly. And again, I can't wait for social, when we can all look at the big three, top three, and we can be inspired by one another. And I cannot emphasize enough that those top 3 things that should be simple, repeatable, not heroic in the sense of, oh my God, I'm just annihilating it. I will repeat. Mine are insanely simple. In bed for the 9 to 10 hours, AM meditation 101 is 1 minute plus, and I often do an hour. And then my little exercise protocol, which again, I've done for years, etc. You go to work, that's not hard to hit, is the point I'm making now. Right? And now you go to work, I'm going to recommit to my vow. Takes me, when I just look at my tattoo, 3 seconds. If I'm going to read it, 15, 20, 30 seconds max. I'm going to do what I think is the most important thing that day. Again, I can do that for a minute or 2 or 3. And then I frankly have been falling short of this last tech input. I don't think I've hit it yet. I mentioned that's a new one for me. Shutdown complete is the one that I tend to have there, and I'd slide it back up if I was worried. I'm not. So I'm experimenting with something. And then my love is insanely simple. I mean, remarkably simple. I recommit to being with my wife, especially on the days when I might have not felt so great as we ended our day yesterday, which again is rare, but I recommit. That takes a second. Perfect. I eat a challenge like an energy bar. That's never hard for me to do, which is always a reminder of it's supposed to be challenging. And then I'll create one little moment of awesome with my wife and with my 2 kids. I'll tell you what, it's really, really, really hard to have a bad day when I start my day committing to that, and then I simply hit those targets. If I did nothing else in the rest of the day, but hit those targets, if you and all of us here did nothing else, but identify and then hit those top 3 targets, we will not experience 2 weeks of soullessness. I don't think it's possible. And again, if it is, perfect. Work the protocol anyway. Rebuild the fire, get that spark, tend the spark, the ember that will come back to life. Have the wisdom to know that you're going to feel off. And again, this is the whole point of all of our work together. If there's one, this is at least tied for first. It's supposed to be challenging. You're not always going to feel on, and it's not because something's wrong with you. It's because you are human. So we're going to have ups, we're going to have downs. But when we can do what you just described on our soulless moments and show up the next day with a simplified protocol, tiny habits, atomic habits, find ways to win on your least motivated days, then we're much less likely to be going up and down. And oh, where did I go? I can't even see how down I went. You're building scaffolding each day, and each set of 21 days and 101 days that you do it, even when you don't feel like it. And even, Alex, I'm excited for you. Not where you're going to be when you hit 101, but where you're going to be after a year of hitting 101, and where you're going to be after 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 10 years of hitting 101. We each will continue to be different human beings with each cycle we go through. And I know how much you've grown, Leo, and how much more wisdom and self-mastery and love and courage and gratitude and hope and curiosity and zest you have versus X decades ago, years ago, months ago, even weeks ago. So I am fully aligned with your approach and really appreciate your idiosyncratic expression of exactly what we're striving to communicate. So all thumbs up on this side.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Brad.
Good work. I cannot wait. Again, on our social platform, we're not going to have loves or likes. We're going to have fire emoji. So then each of us will be able to add fire to our buddies, soul force that's consuming all of the obstacles as fuel for our growth. So I can't wait to throw fire on you and all of your hard work. Great work. Great to see you, and come back soon.
See ya.
All right, brother. Juan, let's come back. I know that we've connected. I want to chat with Lori real quick, but we'll have time for 3+1 today. Lori, good to see you. Let's get you off mute. Ask to unmute. There you go.
Okay, here we go. Hello. Family road trip. My husband's running
is this Nurse Lori? Is this her?
This is Nurse Lori, yes.
Oh my goodness. So Heroic Nurse, I literally watched a clip of our interaction. Michael just sent it to me. I just shared it with Alexander. We watched it together with the kids. Bless you. That was such a cool interaction. Good to see you.
Yes. That keeps feeding me, and I've claimed my work identity as Heroic Nurse. So thank you.
Right on. Beautiful.
So my question is, and you might have caught it when you named the despair with taking the information and then following through with action. So within the coach program, the modules and then the notes and then the +1s, like I get so fired up, right? And I feel this like levity happening, and I'm like, nope, flip the switch, come back down. And I'm just looking for maybe some guidance or boundaries on how to stay grounded in all this excitement, because the highlights are hitting so many pain points and struggle points that it's like relief and excitement and celebration to hear it normalized. Here's a way forward. And I've really hardened up my sleep boundaries and shut down complete digital sunset. Like that has been phenomenal. I'm finally excelling in the target swiping and app. But I'm also so overcome by all this excitement of information and want to stay buoyant and not float away.
Yeah, I love it. And again, and you and the fam. What immediately comes to mind is breath. And we had talked about this, and I get so excited that I just continued to go here. But let's take a breath right now, because there's no more powerful way to take that levity and to ground it with the gravity, the gravitas, than to be present in our bodies in a very deep, centered way. And there is no faster way to do it than through a deep breath in through our nose, down into our bellies, back out through our nose, exhale slightly longer than the inhale. So let's do that together now. And I want you to feel, each of us, the power of that. We're going to do 3 breaths together in silence. But what I feel when I do that is just incredible. Boom, it's right there. And it takes me out of the flying away is the point, into this grounded, ballasted, more firm position. So sit or stand again, get strong. I'm standing and I'm always in like a mountain pose. So I'm always standing, chest up, chin down, but my legs are grounded in that secure, deep mountain pose. But feel the ground beneath you. Feel the power in the stillness. Feel the power through your breath. And literally through your breath, bring the energy down. We kind of have that Mona Lisa smile, that smile that's just got that. Yogananda talks about it. He called it the millionaire. I got this smile, the smile of God. But that calm, confident, deep, poised, dignified presence. So then I go there in the beginning and always. And again, this should be, I think, a moment-to-moment practice, especially when we find ourselves excited. So me say, and you will hear me say more often, the worse you feel, the more committed you are to the protocol. The other side of it is at least as true, which is the better you feel, the more committed you are to your protocol, especially if you are prone to really high highs that may be followed by some. And that's exhilarating when we can see that of no. We're no longer the person that's trying to get shot out of a cannon and fly up and then fly back down. Which is why I'm not a big at all of psychedelic trips and other artificial means to reach this state experience. Again, I think they can be done mindfully, but I don't think they usually are, because we have that state experience and then we have nothing to ground them with. So when we discipline ourselves, the more inspired, the more we feel that taste of what's possible, the more committed we are to the most basic, boring, mundane fundamentals to ground that energy in practice, which is why, again, using Alex as an example, because we've had such great chats, I'm not looking to find ways to get Alex more excited per se. Now, we need to light the fire. We need to get excited. You and I and everyone here. Enthusiasm is one of the most powerful engines of success. Ralph Waldo Emerson tells us, and I repeat to myself every night, right? When you do a thing, do it with all your might and with all your soul. Stamp it with your own personality. Boom. And find ways to ground yourself. And again, if you look at my protocol, the top 2 energy targets, top 2 out of the 3 top 3 are each grounding. So I'm in bed for 9 to 10 hours. And then I'm meditating for typically an hour a day. And then I'm doing my physical movement. Those are practices for me to stay grounded in the midst of the excitement. So that arises immediately. And then we're playing the long game. So when we get excited about something like this, we want to change everything all at once. And frankly, I'm all about it. Go for it. Go for it with the mindset that what we're really trying to change is our orientation to every single day. We know we're not going to be exonerated. We know we're never going to get there. We know that if we go too hard off the starting line, we're going to burn ourselves out and then not be able to finish the race. So you got to know how to pace yourself, and your idiosyncratic dynamic expression of that pace will be different than anyone else's. And then go experiment with it, but make today the day that you show up and practice with as much integrity as you can. And over the long run, we're going to aggregate and compound all those tiny little gains and go from there. Bring us back, though, to your specific challenges and let me know how we might be able to support you.
Yeah. So I think what you said is to stay ground. I got this, the harder the time is or the challenging the time is, stay to the protocol. And when you're excited, stay to the protocol, because my lows have definitely come closer to baseline. but my highs with this information are really spiking up, and I can feel myself. And I definitely will turn it off and turn on the breath. But when you cued to bring the breath down, like that was helpful in that energy coming back down within the capacity of the breath. So that was helpful. And then I think within energy, since I'm tending to run a little bit higher right now, is to add in more of the grounding practices. And that might balance out or bring the buoyancy back into the excitement. So I'm not floating away.
Yep, but perfect. And then even I imagine you as a nurse, the presence that I've received from the most powerful kind of guides in my life, whether it's our midwife or our pediatrician or Phil, and who I aspire to be, is that deeply grounded, calm, confident, nothing shakes me person. And again, I'm intense and I can go up. But what I want to have more than anything is the solidity, the presence. So I imagined you looking at a moment to moment, and I mean this literally, moment to moment to moment to moment to moment practice, where you're finding that gravitas, you're finding that center. And, you know, the first tattoo I got, I don't talk about a lot, but I got this one forever ago. It's the Sanskrit symbol for your third chakra, which represents in Chinese philosophy your Dantian. It's the center of you. It's the center of your universe. It's the center of your power. So when we're breathing deeply, we're breathing into our diaphragm, we're breathing into that center point. Right. From that center point, all of our power emanates. It's literally all of our power. So if you can and we can discipline ourselves, and this is really important too, for coaches, for ambassadors, and Tim and I talked about it. So excited. Dina and I talked about it. My God, I'm nervous. I'm going to talk to the principal and just be, you know, so excited that there isn't the gravitas.
Yeah.
There's something about, even right now, for me and for us to take a breath, literally in the middle of a sentence, like, boom, there we go. Okay, bring it back, calibrate it. I have mindful control over my energy, over how I communicate. And this is where the meditation practice, the breath work. And if you haven't, you, Lori, and everyone here, if you haven't gotten a stopwatch out and timed your breath pattern and talk about in breathing 101, there are coherent breathing patterns where your HRV changes. In the same way that Dr. Lisa Miller said that when you get into that alpha state, you align with literally universal energies, at least on our planet. People feel that. That's the moral charisma. That's the solid base that people feel. So we want to be able to flip the switch and have that presence in any given moment. So again, this is a ritualistic, all day, everyday practice. And then the cue, the trigger, the prompt becomes, I feel myself flying away a little bit. Perfect. Yep. Then you're going to have a lot of opportunities to ground yourself. Then you have Barbara Fredrickson's buoyancy. Then you have this talk where you're simultaneously up and down. And again, there's a felt, literal neurological experience that people have in the presence of people who have cultivated that quality. Right. And we want to cultivate that quality. And then, I didn't say it out loud, but how awesome that you feel this joy, you feel this effervescent enthusiasm, and you have the wisdom to know you need to ground it. That this is one of those where walking on fire isn't enough, that you want to be able to sustain this. And the way Ken Wilber describes it is your state experience needs to become a trait. It needs to become a stage of your development. And there's only one way to make that happen, which is hard work and practice. Not once in a while, but every single day, which again is why we architected the entire app. I don't care how you feel. The worse you feel, the better you feel, the more committed you are. Feelings have nothing to do with it. Yet, when we practice and we engage in these behaviors, the effervescent joy that comes, even in the midst of all the challenges and the pain and the ups and downs of life, is the ultimate source of our anti-fragile confidence and that presence that we give to others, because we know that we can handle whatever comes at us, and then we can give encouragement to our patients in a hospital, or to our clients in a Zoom coaching call, or to our kids when they're crying after losing a chess game. Perfect. Been there, done that.
Right.
I practice it. I'm here for you. Bless you. Good work. Enjoy your family and look forward to seeing you
Love
soon.
it. Thanks for the response. Thank you.
All right. You're great. All right, Juan, what do we got? How's our soccer?
Right. So yeah, I've came here like in the past for soccer, and now I need help in getting clarity on what I want, because I've been here like really with a really clear sense of that I want to be a professional soccer player, and that's what I want, and that's how I want to use it to help the world, but and like to do my mission and my purpose. But this last couple of weeks, I've been spending time with myself, and I've been feeling that I'm not enjoying soccer. And that is not just for the past couple of weeks, but I'm like reflecting, oh, I haven't been really enjoying what I'm doing for the last couple months or even years. And it's been like I've been reflecting and thinking about if it's what I want, if it's my purpose and my mission on what I want to do for my whole life. And I want some help and some guidance to see to find like that purpose and clarity on what I want.
Well, this is exciting. The hero is at a crossroads. We get to make some important distinctions and decisions. Fantastic. I appreciate your clarity, your wisdom, your discipline, and your courage to share and to explore. Obviously, I don't know. And obviously, you and your daimon get to become even closer as you explore these questions. Again, all the things we always talk about. Perfect. The greater the challenge, the greater the need for a commitment to your protocol. What's yours? Leo shared his. I've described mine. What's yours? And more importantly, what's yours right now? So I'd go back through and look at your identities, in your energy, in your work, in your love. Step back from the pitch and look at your life outside of the context of what felt like your identity not too long ago. And it's funny, I haven't talked about David Data much ever, but in this conversation or any other. But check out The Way of the Superior Man. He's got a great frame for this. He talks about oftentimes you're going through your life and you're super fired up, right? And you're just all in, whether it's soccer or for me, it's been different creative endeavors and businesses. But you get to a point where you're like, you know what? I've fulfilled that part of my heroic quest in that regard and that mission. And you kind of wake up and you're like, wow, what was it about that was so exciting? Because continuing to do that feels like collecting, I forget what he describes, like receipts from the gas station, and wallpapering your house with it. Like it's lost all of the juice that it had before. And that's a natural, healthy part of our evolution. And again, you want to tease apart the fear, the laziness with the deep intuition of, no, it's actually not what I feel called to do. So for you in the soccer, you may be up against well, now's the time to double down and go for it if you really want to get to the next level. Or it might be I don't want to pay that price. When I run it through the Whoop protocol, it doesn't feel like what I'm here to do. And you're obviously the only one that can answer that. And it's exciting to imagine you saying, well, what do I really want? And then giving yourself the freedom to ask that question. And I've asked that, as I've shared, over and over and over again. Don't expect clarity on the first pass. But then get excited about that and get excited about all the things you learned in your all-in commitment to soccer and how you can apply that to the next phase of your life. And to give it a little bit of context with my family right now, Emerson's into chess. If you've been following along, you've heard me share. Well, chess is it's literally a game. Soccer is just a game. In many ways, what I'm doing entrepreneurially is just a game, albeit perhaps with some more natural gravitas to it, given my direct intention to impact people. But for chess, and how I'm holding it as his parent and how I'm encouraging him to consider it is his current thing that he has it's even deeper than a rage to master. It's a joyful, passionate commitment to experiencing it. But what I'm most excited about as his dad is to help him create the context through which he can master anything he ever wants to master. And my current intuitive hit is, I actually think if he maintains this joy, he will become a national, international, perhaps even a grandmaster. But I don't see that as his ultimate dharma. I see his ability to decide that he's going to master something at a very high level. And you've mastered soccer. To be invited to the tryouts that you've been invited to that I know of, you have gone to a very high level of mastery. So although you may not have achieved the success you wanted yet in this domain, you must celebrate the fact that you achieved a very high level of mastery. Then the question becomes, how can you apply that to other domains in your life? And that's kind of how I see my current thinking, which he's 10, will see, but I can see that cycle of one heroic quest after another. And I can see your potential. You're ready for your next quest if you decide you are. Then we take every single thing we've learned from this. We let go of any story we might have that wouldn't help us in the next phase, while honestly appraising ways we may not have shown up as powerfully as we could. And then we'd go decide what we want next. And then, as Phil Stutz says, when you're at a crossroads, you're going to need to pick one path or the other. And there's going to need to be a death at the crossroads, or not. Sometimes you can find ways to play with multiple angles. But his big thing is death at the crossroads. Most people don't want to die to things. So most people aren't willing to have the honest conversation you're having with yourself and with me right now, because it's hard. When you get to a point and realize, I'm not sure that's what I'm here to do, it's really hard to unwind your life and to follow what Carlos Castaneda calls the path with. Check out Castaneda as well. He's got some great stuff. This note is worth looking at. He says, you got to follow the path with heart. And then he says, yeah, but what's the path with heart? Castaneda. What's the path with heart? And he says, you know what it is. You just don't have the courage to ask the question. And then to follow what the answer is. But slow down, pause, ask your daimon, and then have the courage to actually go follow that next path, knowing that when you follow that bit of bliss, you follow the grunt, always the chance of bliss, also always the chance of fiasco. That's the hero's journey. Let's go. Again, I've said a lot, so bring us back to anything that might be helpful for you.
No, yeah, what you're saying gets me, because that's what I've thought about, like any sports and like with anyone. It's a great way to learn like how to master something and to be disciplined as well. And right now, yeah, that's what I have the fear of, if it's the right decision or not. And how do I know what I want? Like, because I have an idea, and like then I guess just like meditating and spending time with myself.
Yeah, dude. And look at you, man. I mean, I can feel your presence right now. I mean, you're just a house, just like this really strong guy that's embodying that athlete, fierce persona. And I'll tell you what, that energy can get you anywhere you want to go, And this is why Eknatheswaran, George Mumford talk about the one Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant being his best meditators ever. Eknatheswaran saying, somewhat surprisingly, the most ambitious entrepreneurs and CEOs, even Yogananda's right-hand guy, was a really successful CEO. These ambitious athletes and entrepreneurs and other people that are fiercely committed to creating things in their life have the necessary energy to move through the blocks in meditation, in conquering the next version of their quest. But I can feel your physical and kind of mental toughness and presence here. And then it's the meditation, it's the reflection, it's the strategic analysis, it's the experimentation, it's the willingness to dream and to say with the same intensity that you had when you said you wanted to be a professional soccer player, that you want to go be the best at this. It's how champions think, Bob Rotella style, and use all of those tools that you've kind of put into your armamentarium, your arsenal, for whatever you decide to do. But remind me, how old are you again?
20.
Dude, you're 20 years old, man. I mean, the presence you have, the experience that you have, day one, let's go. Go give us what you got today, tomorrow, the next day. Experiment, get the data, and just fiercely believe that you can create whatever you decide you're going to create, and you'll get data which will influence your decision making, and you will beautifully evolve, spiraling up with each pass through. And again, my confidence and my excitement for you is absolute, and good luck with that. The caterpillar going through the metamorphosis to become a butterfly, we can't snip that last little millimeter of that process, because the pain, the work that's involved in that metamorphosis can only be done by one person, which is you. And excited to see how you evolve, and thrilled to see the place you're in now.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, man. Good work, brother.
I'll keep digging and experimenting. Thank you.
All right, go get it, brother. Christian, I see your hand, but we're going to come back to you. If you can come back next time, that'd be great. Let us celebrate the great connections we had today. Take a breath. If you would like to connect with one another, please stay on. Nat and Jesse will help us facilitate those connections. And I will see you tomorrow. It will be 1:01 p.m. Central Time, weekend edition. And I very much look forward to it. Right back at you, Lydia. Flipping the switch for the third or fourth time. A phrase I didn't mention when we were talking about gravitas and slowing down is a George Mumford piece of wisdom. He encourages his athletes and the individuals that he teaches, to whom he teaches meditation, to slow down, to step in between stimulus and response, to be in the eye of what he calls the hurricane. And he says that slow is smooth, and smooth is fast. So paradoxically, when we can slow down, connect to something bigger than ourselves, things accelerate. Phil talks about the same thing. Imagine a sprinter bursting off the starting line. The fastest runner paradoxically seems to slow down and relax right as they accelerate. We're intense, but not tense. I very much enjoyed moving from theory to practice to mastery together with you today. And I look forward to doing some more great work together the next time we connect. Have a great rest of the day. Day one, all in. Let's go.